Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Sankarshanastakari Namane Namo Prabhupada Padmane Gaudeshu Dasatuttamuktivash Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Samniti Namane Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So, yesterday we completed till 30th verse of second chapter. Second chapter is titled Contents of the Gita Summarized. And 30 in this till this verse, Krishna was specifically mentioning about the soul, characteristics of the soul, how it is different from matter, and difference between soul and super soul. And now we'll go to the 31st verse. So, okay, would you like to read, Mataji? Are you available to read? Hare Krishna. I can't hear you. Maybe you're, on mute.
Yes, Mataji. Am I audible?
Yeah, now you're audible. Yes.
Okay. Can I read, Mataji?
Yeah, you can read, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita 2.31. Swadharmamapi chaveksha na vikampetomasi dharmayati yashreyonya kshatrishya na vidyate. Synonyms. Swadharma, one's own religious principles. Api, also. Cha, indeed. Vaksha, considering. Na, never. Vikampitum, to hesitate. She, you deserve. Dharmyat, for religious principles. He indeed. Yuddha, than fighting. Shreya, better engagement. Aniyat, any other. Kshatriya, of the Kshatriya, na, does not. Vidyate, exist. Translation. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. Purport. Out of the four orders of social administration, the second order for the matter of good administration is called Kshatriya. Kshat means herd, one who gives protection from harm is called Kshatriya. They are there to give protection. The Kshatriyas are trained for killing in the forest. A Kshatriya would go to the forest and challenge a tiger face to face and fight with the tiger with his sword. When the tiger was killed, it would be offered the royal order of cremation. This system has been followed even up to the present day by the Kshatriya kings of Jaipur state. The Kshatriyas are especially trained for challenging and killing because religious violence is sometimes a necessary factor. Therefore, Kshatriyas are never made for accepting directly the order of sannyasa or renunciation. Nonetheless, violence in politics may be a diplomacy, but it is never a factor of principle. In the religious law book, it is stated, Aha Veshu Mitho Nyon Nam Jigham Santo Mahishita Yuddha Mana Param Shaktya Swagam Yanti Apram Mukha Yajneshu Pashvo Brahmana Haniyante Satatam Dvija Samkrata Kila Mantracha Tepi Swardam Apapnuvam. In the battlefield, a king or Kshatriya, while fighting another king envious of him, is eligible for achieving the heavenly planets after death, as the Brahmanas are also attained the heaven sacrificing animals in the sacrificial fire. Therefore, killing on the battlefield on religious principles and killing animals in the sacrificial fire are not considered at all sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be acts of violence because everyone is benefited by the religious principles involved. The animal sacrificed gets a human life immediately without undergoing the gradual evolutionary process from one form to another, and the Kshatriyas killed on the battlefield also attain the heavenly planets, as do the Brahmanas who attain them by offering sacrifice. There are two kinds of swadharmas, specific duties. As long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties of his particular body in accordance with religious principles in order to achieve liberation. When one is liberated, one's swadharma, specific duty, becomes spiritual and is not in the material bodily concept. In the bodily conception of life, there are specific duties of the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas respectively, and such duties are unavoidable. Swadharma is ordained by the Lord, and this will be clarified in the fourth chapter. On the bodily plane, Swadharma is called Varnash, Var- Varnashma Dharma, or man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. Human civilization begins from the stage of Varnashma Dharma, or specific duties in terms of the specific mode of nature of the body obtained. Discharging one's specific duty in any field of action in accordance with the order of higher authority serves to elevate one to a higher status of life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So, considering your again, Arjuna, Krishna is telling Arjuna is asking him to give up his hesitation and fight. Considering a specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And as we know, the battle was not whimsical, it was needed because of the obstinacy of Duryodhan. They had to all come for the battle. There was no other option, and so there is no need for hesitation. So it was not any whimsical, okay, just like nowadays the countries keep declare some war or something. So it's not like that whimsical for sense gratification, but it was on religious principles. Because and also over all of other reasons, Krishna wanted Yudhishthira Maharaj to be the emperor. So, out of the four orders, Prabhupada is mentioning, out of the four orders of social administration, the second order for the matter of good administration is called Kshatriya. So, what are the four orders? There are four Varnas and four Ashramas. The four orders in society are the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. So Kshatriyas, they are the administrative, like the kings. They would, of course, they will be guided by the Brahmanas, and they will rule the kingdom based on the guidance of the Brahmanas. Earlier times, the kings, they were called as Rajrishis. They were not only in power as a king, but they were also devotees. They had the saintly qualities. They had saintly qualities. So Shat means hurt, one who gives protection from harm. So Prabhupada is giving us the meaning of the word Kshatriya. So one who gives protection. So the king gives protection to, or a Kshatriya, anybody coming in that Kshatriya category, gives protection to the dependents. The Kshatriyas are trained for killing in the forest. So sometimes, though animal killing is not promoted here, of course, but an example is given that because the Kshatriyas, they have to, just like before our exams, there is a mock test. Similarly, now anytime some enemy may attack the kingdom, so the king and they have to be kind of, have some warm up sessions, something like that. So they would go to the forest and challenge or kill ferocious animals. There was other reason also, because in the forest there will be saintly personalities, saintly persons doing their austerities and all. So just in order to make sure that ferocious animals do not harm them or do not cause trouble to their austerities and so on. So that was also a side reason. But overall, if you say here, it's not promoting animal killing or something, but it's mentioned just for us, for our understanding, that even Prabhupada mentions in the recent times in Jaipur, the kings also, they used to go to the forest and hunt ferocious animals. And it's not that they would kill and use the for sense gratification or something, just like they kill cows for their flesh. But here, the 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 tiger or whoever, they will be given a very royal cremation as well. So this system has been followed even up to the present day by the Kshatriya kings of Jaipur state. The Kshatriyas are specially trained for challenging and killing, because religious violence is sometimes a necessary factor. Earlier also we have discussed this part, that violence, when necessary, one can act accordingly. Just like the war or this battle, it is, somebody can say, okay, it's a violence, no, killing and all, but it was necessary, so one can go for it. The Kshatriyas are okay. Therefore, Kshatriyas are never meant for accepting directly the order of sannyasa or renunciation. Non-violence in politics may be a diplomacy, but it is never a factor or principle. In the religious law books, it is stated, so Prabhupada is quoting, and all throughout Prabhupada's books, you'll notice that Prabhupada quotes from different scriptures to show the authenticity of what he's mentioning in his purports. In the battlefield, a king or Kshatriya, while fighting another king envious of him, is eligible for achieving heavenly planets after death. So, on the battlefield, if one party, somebody, the king, is killed, so he's going to attain a higher destination, a better destination, heavenly planets or so. So just like the Brahmanas, when they sacrifice animals in the fire, it's not for personal sense gratification, but the reasons like to test the mantras, the power of their mantras. It is mentioned that they would sacrifice some animal, and the same creature will get a rejuvenated body, a young rejuvenated body. So they would test the power of their mantras. So the Brahmanas, while performing sacrifice, they may sometimes have to sacrifice the animals in that sacrificial fire. So whatever result they get, similar result is attained by the Kshatriyas, who, even if they are killed on the battlefield. So therefore, killing on the battlefield on the religious principles and killing animals in sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be acts of violence, because everyone is benefited by the religious principles involved. The animal sacrifice gets a human life immediately without undergoing the gradual evolutionary process from one form to another. And the Kshatriyas killed on the battlefield also attain the heavenly planets, as do the Brahmanas who attain them by offering sacrifice. So these are all prescriptions mentioned for different, like there are 4 orders. For them, different activities are mentioned in the scriptures, and if they follow that, it may seem to be violence from an ordinary point of view, but because they are following the scriptures, it is beneficial it is beneficial for them. There are two kinds of swadharma, specific duties. As long as one is not liberated, one has to perform duties of his particular body in accordance with religious principles in order to achieve liberation. So now somebody is a married man, or somebody is a um, housewife, or whatever, family person, and now they come in contact with this process and start practicing bhakti, and suddenly they cannot be like, oh, so now I'm becoming a devotee, so I give up all this family job and everything. That are exceptional cases, but in general, one cannot artificially give up like that. So one has to perform whatever material duties they have, but try to dovetail them in Krishna's service. Just like before becoming Krishna conscious, we would like to eat whatever we want. We do, whatever party, or go out for some shopping or something. But now, when we become devotees, or are trying to become devotees, our taste changes. So we try to keep Krishna in the center. So, however, one is still performing, one is still doing the job or whatever, but our consciousness is changed. When one is liberated, so this is one, as long as we are having this like in this material body, we are in a particular situation, time, place, circumstances, so we have to follow certain principles. When one is liberated, one's swadharma, specific duty, becomes spiritual and is not in the material bodily concept. In the bodily concept, of course, now also by practicing Krishna consciousness, we are actually doing our actual duty to be Krishna conscious, and because of our past karma, whatever situation we are in, we cannot artificially renounce it. So just like what is that word, yukta vairagya, so we perform our duties in the mood of giving it for Krishna, doing it for in service of the Lord. At the same time, like dovetail everything we have, or everything in our relations and everything in service of Krishna. So that is specifically termed as Yukta Vairagya. Swadharma is ordained by the Lord, and this will be clarified in the 4th chapter. On the bodily plane, Swadharma is called Varnashrama Dharma, or a man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. Okay, so Varnas, we discussed the 4 orders, and ashramas are brahmachari, then grahastha, then vanaprastha, and sannyasa. So these are 4 ashramas. Human civilization begins from the stage of varnashrama dharma, or specific duty in terms of specific modes of material nature of the body obtained. Discharging one's specific duty in any field of action in according with the orders of higher authority serves to elevate one to a higher status of life. So whatever modes we are in, just like the Brahmanas, they are in the mode of goodness. The Kshatriyas are in mode of passion, and Vaishyas are in a mixture of passion and ignorance, and Shudras are in a mode of ignorance. So, based on the modes, they are categorized, and they have specific duties to perform. So everything is very much organized in an organized way, is given in our Vedas, in our scriptures. If one follows that, they will at least come to a beyond that animalistic way of living in the present day, what we see. There's no rules, regulations, and nothing. Whatever you want to do, you can do. So it's not. It's termed as such. People are termed as what Dvipada Pashu, two-legged animals in the scriptures. So these are the basic things of Varnashram Dharma, but of course, when we are becoming devotees, then automatically everything else, all other dharmas, everything falls in line. One need not endeavor for other things separately, but by becoming devotee, we are doing our highest duty or topmost duty or our actual duty as Jivera Swarupa hai Krishnera Nitya Das. So that is our identity, and we have to uh, like we have to imbibe that. Okay, so I'll stop here. Most of the things were already discussed in other verses as well. So, you would you like to add some points, Mataji, or you want to say something regarding this verse?
Um, Hare Krishna Mataji. In the but there is one line on the bodily plane. Swadharma is called one ashram dharma or man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. What is this man? What is this mean by man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding, Mataji? Kindly explain. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. So, yes, Varnashrama Dharma, like we discussed, four Varnas and four Ashramas. So, in the initial stage, now there are four orders in society and four ashramas, two categories. So, one is like student life, a brahmachari ashram, then grahastha ashram, vanaprastha ashram, and sannyasa ashram. These are the ashramas. And the varnas are Brahmanas, there are Brahmanical class, there are Kshatriyas, there are Vaishyas, and there are Shudras. So they have their specific duties in a particular varna and a particular ashrama. They have their specific duties to perform. Uh, so when they are just, if they can just do minimum, at least they will come to a human platform so that they can understand the spiritual topics in nicely. Of course, Varnashrama is based on the, still it is on the, if one is following this Varnashrama system but is not a devotee, then they're not in a good position as compared to somebody who is a devotee, because when one becomes a devotee, automatically Varnashram system and everything is included in that. But if one is not a devotee yet, at least they are following the Varnashram system, then they are gradually being purified by their regulated activities, so that they can understand the spiritual subject matter nicely. But in the present day, that is why it is said that is a stepping stone. It's a beginning kind of stepping stone for spiritual understanding. But in the present day, if we see, there is no varnas, there is no ashramas, there is nobody knows what is of course in ISKCON only we see there are brahmacharis, or in how they are trained and everything. But in general, nobody knows what is brahmachari ashram. There's no brahmachari ashram practically. Uh, and grihastha, it's not grihastha, it's grihamayadi, because I scratch your back, you scratch my back. If you stop scratching my back, I stop uh, scratching your back. So this is called grihamedhi. This is not grihastha ashrama. Then there's no varnashram and there's no sannyas. Sannyas has become like, okay, I wear some saffron clothes and ask for, keep begging, or somebody will respect me. That is the mood. So practically the ashramas are not there, and the varnas, brahmana, vaishya. So this has become kind of based on, it is categorized based on birth. That is never mentioned in the scriptures. The four ashramas, Chaturvarnam, Maya Shishtam, Guna Karma Vibhagasha. So Krishna will be mentioning further, we will see that the four varnas are categorized, are given by the Lord, and they are categorized based on their qualities and activities. Guna karma, guna qualities and their activities. Karma, what kind of activities they are to be involved in, or they are involved in. So um, practically in the present day, it's based on birth. If somebody is born in a Brahminical family, so it's a Brahmana, even if they are eating meat. Huh? So practically no one is following this Varnashram system in the present day. So at least one will follow this Varnashram system. They will be in a much better state to understand, to move further and understand the spiritual topics. So that's why it's mentioned as a man's stepping stone.
Mataji, one more question. Is bhakti in Krishna consciousness is very tough to follow, or we can in regular process, in continuous process, we it can be easy for us, for a common man.
What do you think? That depends upon
But
individual.
when I get to know about all this ashram, Mataji, as you explained me now, this thinking came to my mind. That's why I asked it. I can't make any conclusion on that, so I want your views
Okay.
on this. Right?
A Vaishnava is beyond Varnashrama system. Just like we were discussing, when one becomes a devotee, they are already following the Varnashrama. It's already included. It's beyond, just like in the Vedas. When we say Vedas, it's vast. It's huge. If we keep on reading one section of the Upanishads, there are 108 Upanishads. There are four broadly categorization of Vedas, and there are so many scriptures, Puranas, and so on. If we keep reading everything, and do not come to the conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and I am His eternal servant, I should serve Him, then it's all waste. But when, even if we haven't read practically one by one Upanishad, the Purana, but have come to the conclusion of the Vedas that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we are part and parcel, so we should engage in His service, which covers all the Vedas. So all the knowledge of the Vedas is already there because we have come to the conclusion. In the similar way, when one becomes a Vaishnava, he may act as a Brahmana, he may act as a Vaishya, he may act as a Kshatriya or Shudra. Mostly everybody is working in some sectors, no, working under someone. So they are like Shudras, but Vaishnava may act in whatever Varna or Ashrama that is necessary, because it is being a devotee is beyond the Varna Ashrama system. His consciousness is different. His consciousness is keeping Krishna in the center. So, becoming a devotee is beyond this Varnashrama system.
When I compare my doing service to Krishna to uh, when I compare my service, whatever I do small thing in bhakti, and I see the non devotees or the materialistic involved people, and when I listen all these things about Vaishnava, so I think like there is a very long way to go, and some people didn't even know that these things really exist, and there is so much to do for this liberation and all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, it's by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada that we are able to get it in a, I mean, so easily online, and of course there are ISKCON temples and online also. It's so easy by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. But if you see how he struggled to establish, I mean, without him, we also would have been, wandering somewhere in this material world. Of course, now also we are wondering, we are not so much fixed in our Krishna consciousness, but at least we know, we are at least practicing it. Otherwise, our situation would have been like you would have just lived like cats and dogs and give up the body like cats and dogs, not different from animal
Yes,
life.
Mataji, sorry for interruption. And I think that at least I'm thinking about it. Not practicing, but at least I'm thinking about this and reading Prabhupada books. I realized that, oh my God, this world also exists and where I was and what these people are doing. So thanks to, what thanks, all for Prabhupada. Everything, all the credit goes to Prabhupada and the Gurudev and Guru Mataji who are teaching us the process. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, once I also asked a similar question to Guru Mata that it seems is a long way to go. Of course, they answer in different angles at different times. So, Guru Mata mentioned we have already come a long way. So now, I mean, it's so rare, first of all, to get, and we have already come, we have gone through so many millions of lifetimes, and so we have got this human body, and now we have started practicing at least this Krishna consciousness. We have already come a long way, so one should keep continue, something like that she mentioned. So it was little kind of a different answer that we have already come a long way. Um, so yes, we somehow or other keep following the process. That's our only hope. Okay, I think we will close for now, and tomorrow is Wednesday, but maybe I will be available tomorrow. So if so, then we will have the class. I'll post it in the group. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.